What's good, YouTube? And welcome to pre-sales being up for Duelist Advance over on TCG Player. If you've been here a while, you probably know the speech, but if you're new here, I think TCG Player pre-sales are mostly a complete joke. You have very uninterested sellers going nickels and dimes under each other to try to prey on FOMO and use the platform to sell overinflated prices. They're way above other pre-sellers on stuff like Vanquish Soul, Holy Suit, except there is one interesting thing to note here. One brave seller came in saying the entire market's wrong. I think this is a $20 card, and they instantly sold out and got called. However, you also see then somebody spending at 60. What a sucker, in my opinion. This card will just already be available cheaper, and people are throwing darts on the dartboard where it will land, but this was not the price to pay when you can get it cheaper other places right now, and that's the case for many pre-sales over here. But it is at least notable to go through, compare, and do checklists, and maybe stumble upon an honest seller slash deal like this. And I do hope they end up fulfilling this deal, because you do hear all too often, oh, we're out of stock, oh, it sold multiple places, oh, this, that excuse. And some excuses are real, like how Crystal Commerce can end up selling out your cards one place, and if the order's within 15 minutes, it still appears in another. But when it comes down to stuff like this, it's pre-sales. They should have the quantities, I would hope. Now, you might already see the Blue Eyes shirt. Yeah, we're talking about the Ultimate Rare again, right in another video. I'm gonna say I think this is the OTS Ulti. SDK art, Blue Eyes, White Dragon, and it's Ulti. And I think it looks really good. The Achilles heel of this is its corners. They come out damaged, and they're not truly near mint, but a lot of people are labeling near mint, and so when it shows up, I'm sure arguments are gonna happen with the sellers, that kind of stuff. But a dinged corner is not a near mint card, even if it comes out of a pack that way. However, that is not stopping people from buying, and we covered that it was still available at 165 last market watch, and it's already gone to where people are spending 225, 250, 180s, all of the under 200 sold out here, and all the buy it nows on eBay sold out once again, and we see that it is around 186 at auction, 188 at auction, 220 plus from Canada, and then 250 here. So not the most listings in the world. Now, will these populate more over the next months? Absolutely. But I think this is going to have a problem going back under 180. And I think there's a whole wall of people waiting for this to be 150. And then you do have the people that will settle for other ones or grab in. But I think this card will have a lot of tourists come back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh, Blue Eyes. I remember Blue Eyes. Everyone told me to get Blue Eyes. I made money on Blue Eyes. Crypto bros, magic people, vendors who are looking to scalp, that kind of thing. This is our poster boy. And when it comes down to Blue Eyes White Dragon, it does have that rabid demand, and people can look at these early graphs and that kind of thing. I think that there's an argument in the Discord right now. Somebody was saying it's going to fall all the way to 40, quoting Sage of Eyes of Blue. Sage got steel chaired by a QCR to the back, and also the deck didn't take over. And yes, there's extra demand early. However, I just really think that this is not going to fall back under 150, and that's my opinion from experience. Let me know what you think on this specific one. I don't want to drag it out too long, but again, listed near mint, and you've got that glaring corner right there. That would be the one downfall of this card, similar to the Ghost Rare to some degree. Blue Eyes White Dragon QCR out of Bonanza, the LOB art, also is spiking up with this one, and I guess people are gonna complete the collection, gonna go ahead and have this ready, and it's gone from 160 back up to 180 with sales, and that's the lowest listings right now. The SDK art for the quarter century, though, has done nothing but fall off. And I think this can be twofold. People are coming off of the deck. They're going, I'm not going to play that anymore. Along with the fact that they might just keep one and sell the other two and have an influx to vendors. And then you have the population of it being so big out of a 10. Even if the pull rates aren't the best out of 10s, this is still going to just have such a heavy population compared to the average card, where it's going to appear so often versus the pulls. And one of the most open products that the community continues to get scammed by to some degree. But at $27 versus the 30 plus it used to be, and you can see it was 35, it is on the down, and it is a version a lot of people could settle for to try to copium, make themselves happy versus getting that ultimate rare. The spirals are just so good. I think the EU ridges are something I want to see in a comparison to a US version. And again, I plan to eventually pick one up for my own collection as well. I think a lot of people are in that camp personally. Chamber Dragon Maid, did you notice the continuing pun? Oh, we have another plush appearing here. I just wanted to mention how I always say to never bet against Dragon Maids, yet there's so many options for this card that in the same OTS pack, this is completely overlooked, doing no traction. And in videos, I have not seen it in person, but in videos, the foiling doesn't look the best, and you have just so many other options out there. Usually an ulti and a QCR might go back and forth a bit, and the QCR doesn't have the most demand out of the main pool from Stampede either, but it is still somewhat pricey for what it is, and I do think it'll be interesting to watch this one in the future and see if she ends up popping back up there again. Speaking of Dragon Maids, we'll eventually get to it through here. I was looking through battles, most of it is starting to fall back out even versus those initial buyouts and rush for short prints, so be aware of that. I did not expect Junk Warrior, one of the most speculated on Starlights because of that upcoming starter deck, to be the Junk Starlight, the lowest one out of them all. I did not see that coming at all. But when it comes down to the Dragon Maids, they're still over here. Parlor has been climbing just a bit, and Kitchen has fallen back versus those ridiculous prices. You can even see the update to the graph, back towards $150 if you were wanting one, so you're not having to pay like $350 price of a pack almost for an ultra rare of these. Chat found this out. The World Legacy token is bought out to the point of 20, and yeah, the Galatea, like R-IB, whichever way you want to go with it, is very interesting. We have sales all the way up to $10 buying it out, and it was selling for $3 recently. Tokens, I really like. I collect them, and it's always something to watch them end up going like this, because the demand for the Sky Striker token got it reprinted at one point, and that would probably be ridiculous right now if it didn't have that reprint. Was that in Mavens, I think? And then I wanted to just cover this set and how cooked it is. You don't have a card over $20 outside of the QCRs and Alliance Insight. The Malice has just fallen out that bad, and we've covered that before, but realizing that this is basically Shadow Specters in Modern, where they had Felgrand at like $25, fell to $22, and they had Alucard at 18, and this is going kind of comparable to Shadow Specters of all things. That's wild to me. At least you have QCRs and stuff to continue to hold Modern product, and you have the Dark Magician Girl at the very top, which could get Starlighted at this point. We'll have to wait and see what Konami does with easy access Starlights. But yeah, I just wonder where it goes from here, especially if some of these get some Starlight rewaves. I also wanted to point out that Stampede is almost nothing but downward motion right now. Nothing's close to a $100 card anymore, despite all the bubbling buyouts. Remember, Mask changed towards there, and it's back down way much. And then we also saw that we're getting an Alter Art Mask change in the future. But Called by the Grave, Ash, and Diabellstar are like in a three-way tie around 70 some odd for first place. Then we get into the other alters and Nostalgia Bait. Dust Shoot of all cards couldn't continue to keep up, and the Dark Magicians are all falling out. It feels like a lot of people are done with modern collectibles in some aspects. Like, we see rabid demand for the Blue Eyes because it's in classic ulti, but a lot of people after the Edison thing are like, why did I go into QCRs, and I'm done with it, I'm cashing out, I'm going only old school. It's very interesting to watch that surge online of who's going to buy it up versus will it continue to fall, and how people perceive it. I think Konami deserves to feel bad over what they tried with past formats. That was absolutely disgusting. I'm glad they walked it back. I'm glad EU isn't bending the knee and said we're continuing Time Wizard for the foreseeable future. And it's going to be very much back and forth how the community is going to view these cards over time. I think there's a lot of hidden gems. I think there's a lot of things that will continue to be good over time, but there is this division where hard to get QCRs continue to go up, and these will dissipate over time. And also Magia is downward motion, which is great. That's something I've been hoping for the community. I would say sell your Perulias if you're not playing in the WCQ. Reprint season's on the horizon, and between fall to spring, depending on when you're playing, we'll likely see another printing of this, at least I would hope. So, it's at $60 for the Ultras. If you get to the WCQ, you're done. I would probably be trying to get rid of this card at that juncture. Now, Konami does pick up the off-season faster and faster every year, it feels like. So there still will be regionals, YCSs, but I would personally want to beat a reprint announcement, which we could see even some of those at the WCQ, right? Like, they like to build hype, and they do live moments and announcements there. So I just personally would be getting rid of stuff like Mulch Armies that are up for reprints in these sets. Wind Up Factory only has 2 printings. I actually thought it had a third for some reason, but 1 Turbo Pack Common and 1 Original Super Rare, and they are going up in price. I would assume this is for past formats, but let me know otherwise with speculation and decks. I can always get blindsided at times, and I like to hear back from y'all. It's not engagement farming, I promise. I actually do get a lot of feedback from you, and it enriches my content, is the main reason for it. Rescue Rabbit Secret Rare is going. Now, I wanted to point out there's another secret. It just doesn't look quite as good as the old school one. I love the richer colors and the look of this, and it is kind of portrayed here. I have seen the other Rescue Rabbit in person. I have it over there, and it does have a QCR, yet this versus the old school mentality, where does old school end? Let me know your thoughts. Is it a decade? Is it 2014? Where does old school kind of end and modern begin? Because I would think Xyz is still modern Yu-Gi-Oh! To a lot of people. Yet Rabbit here, first edition, has a bit of a buyout and is headed towards $25. I think that Rabbit has always been a bit underestimated, but I thought it was Jover whenever we saw the QCR. I thought, like, we would not see a reprint on this, and here we are with it going, and people starting to buy into old school secrets with other versions available. That's very interesting, and I want to see your thoughts, and I want to continue to actually see where this goes long term. CXYZ Nash Knight is something you might want for upcoming metagames, and people have been on this early. It's gone from $1 to like $3.50. I would consider this at about $3.50. I would definitely think about having it because it is Duelist Pack locked. It is a super rare. It could see a reprint at some point, but it's a card you want access to at the least, and it's still basically the cost of a pack for the single that is going to be heavily played. Ancient Gear Beast Super Rare is out of Speed Duel Tournament Pack 5. What a niche place for it. And it's its only holographic outside of its ulti. So a lot of people are going and grabbing this right now. Let me know. I know Ancient Gears continues to get support. Is this for a patch format thing? What exactly is happening with the Speed Duel Super Rare? Malefic Stardust Dragon does appear in some past format decks. It has a big buyout on it right now, back up towards $10 and quickly $20. You see there's only that one listing, and they were selling for $3 to $5 depending on the version and if it's limited, all that stuff. But this Jump magazine promo, I want to say that Bonds Beyond Time keeps playing on Pluto, and every time I see it, I like get more hyped. I'm like, oh, Malefics. And I don't think that really plays into our card market as much. But I could say honestly, if I didn't have this for my collection, that movie alone would have had me buy this a while ago. It's kind of funny because like nostalgia warps us. I remember hating playing against this because Gravekeeper players would use it as a tech and they get a big body on board and it's so difficult to climb over while I'm already struggling versus Necro Valley. Yet then the movie makes me go, oh, Stardust Dragon, Malefics, oh no. And like, I don't know, there's something about it. And maybe there is like a little bit of a cultural movement thanks to streaming into collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards because, and hear me out, the numbers on streaming are super interesting if you look on Twitch, and you can actually see the live. YouTube is not handled as well because you have to refresh those streams to try to get view rates, but Twitch, the streams constantly pump back up to 600 to 800 most nights, and that many people consistently watching live Yu-Gi-Oh just there, when there's also all sorts of streaming and so many streaming platforms demand the show. There is a little something maybe to people going back and getting a couple of their favorite cards or memorable moment anime cards. And finally, Lunalight Black Sheep has only one printing. A lot of them got extra printings. Like, I didn't know Martin got covered in OTS 28 till recently. And then we see also Wolf only has one printing. Lunalights often underestimated. It's something I always pulled out of bulk, but with the new support, people have been eyeing all sorts of cards. We've been covering the buyouts, and be aware that this card, only one printing, is now over $1 common. Thanks for watching today's Market Watch and hearing an old man ramble. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the conversations. And do remember, there's multiple markets within the market. Like when I mentioned this, casual doesn't mean broke, but this movement's most likely due to past format. Yet, I think traction before would be anime fans mostly, right? Like, that would be who the average customer was up till the point of past format play pushing it, I guess, is my roundabout point that I needed to bring together, which I'm glad I did in the video instead of the comment section.